Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. I'm so glad that you decided to join me here today. In today's video, we're going to be doing my ranking my last 10 palettes. I started doing this a couple of months ago. I got the idea from Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner and Betty Jean of Batty Bean Beauty. And basically the idea is that you take your last 10 palettes that you've either gotten PR, that you've purchased, that you've had a chance to kind of play with, do some looks with, and you're just going to give kind of a review and ranking of each of the palettes. For me, it helps me go back and take a look at the palettes that I have recently used, what I thought about them. It will also help as far as like doing collections and declutters later. This one was a little bit hard. Now, if there is something that you're noticing isn't in here, then that means that it is going to be in the next ranking, and that's the reason why it's not here. What I do is I make a list of all the palettes that I get in so that I can keep track of them, the dates they came in, all that. And I have collected a lot of palettes this year so far, and we are only in the beginning of May, so this should be fun. And like I said, this ranking was pretty hard. Just something to note. If something is on the bottom, it doesn't necessarily mean that I didn't like it. It just means that as far as the ranking is concerned with these palettes that I have been using, that's just kind of where it fell. But all the palettes I'm talking about today I've loved and I have enjoyed, but this is just where they happen to rank where this particular ranking is concerned. If any of that rambling made sense. Alright, so number 10 is the Culture palette from Juvia's Place. I love this packaging. I think it's absolutely beautiful. If I'm remembering correctly, the inspiration for this palette was Masks of Africa. And so you have all these different colors and different textures in this palette. I believe there are 30 shades in here. The color story is beautiful. I love all these just gorgeous bright tones in here. This is like a beautiful palette for the springtime. There's a couple of duochromes, like this one right here is a duochrome. This is kind of shifty. I think this one is as well. You can kind of see that shift there. There are some shimmers, there are some metallics, there are a few pressed glitters in here. The pressed glitters is one of the reasons why it ranked kind of on the bottom. But the main reason this palette ended up being number 10 on the bottom of the list is it just really kind of showed me that I don't really like the Juvia's Place eyeshadow formula as much as I used to. It's definitely not one of my favorite formulas. I find it to be a little patchy, kind of dry. I don't find that Juvia's Place's mattes blend nearly as well as others that I've used from other brands. They're just not as smooth or as silky. And the shimmers as well, they just don't have that shine and gloss and just glimmer, that I see in other brands. I don't know if I'm going to purchase from Juvia's Place as far as their palettes again in the future. Never say never, but this palette definitely showed me that I'm just not a huge fan of their formula now as much as I used to be. Number 8 and 9. So we're going to kind of combine these two. These are the Sunday Afternoon palettes from Shop Missy from AOA Studio. There were 4 palettes altogether. I just grabbed the 2 that I thought I would get the most use out of. Movie Time ranks number 9. Midday Stroll ranks number 8. And the only reason is because Movie Time has a pressed glitter. If it didn't, I would probably be switching them. The formulas in these palettes are beautiful. Both of these palettes were $1 each. When you consider the fact that they were $1 each, they blended beautifully. They're very silky. They build up very nicely. The only reason why they're ranked so low is because of the versatility. Because they're more monochromatic palettes, there's only so many looks that you can do with them. And the palettes that I have kind of going, further up here, you can do a little bit more with. I did not dislike these palettes at all. I think they're absolutely beautiful. The formula is absolutely gorgeous. But just based on versatility, what you can do with the palettes, that's the only reason why I rank them so low. Number 7 is the Nomad Cosmetics X Western Lodge collaboration palette. This was done in collaboration with the Western Lodge. Love the packaging. I think it's really, really cute. Very wintry, very travel-lodgy. I do like the tones and the shades in here. I just found this palette to be a little less versatile than some of the other Nomad palettes that I've used. I kind of found this like purplish blue in the middle just to be a little bit patchy. Didn't blend as well. I don't know if Nomad's formula is changing or if they've changed it a little bit, but I have noticed that the last couple of palettes are not as blendable as the previous ones that I used were. It is a beautiful palette though. I do love this shade. These shimmers right here are beautiful. These greens on the bottom, these just blended absolutely gorgeous. This little olivey tone right here, so beautiful. But just because of the fact that this one is just not as versatile as previous Nomad palettes that I have used, that's the reason why it's ranked number 7. Number 6 is the Colourpop Star Wars Darth Vader palette. I just purchased the new Star Wars palette, the one that they launched on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. If you guys are new to the channel, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I do collect the Star Wars palettes from Colourpop, even if I don't buy anything else. That's just, I'm a completionist in that way. But this one was the Darth Vader palette. I love the packaging. I love the drawing of Vader. I love his saber. The packaging was on point. The artwork was on point. And the color story isn't bad. If this was just a regular palette, just a collection that they launched, had nothing to do with Star Wars or Darth Vader, I would say this is beautiful. I would say this is a gorgeous color story. I loved the red in the middle. Overall, it was a beautiful, gorgeous, smoky tone palette. Now that being said, because of the fact that it is a Star Wars specific Darth Vader themed palette, that is the reason why I ranked it so low. As you can see, there is no black. Darth Vader's suit is black. It's a very shiny, wet, metallic black. There is no black matte in here. There is no black shimmer. There is no black metallic. The red in here, this obviously is representative of his lightsaber, which I do like. But I just kind of felt like where the actual color story meeting the theme was concerned, they kind of dropped the ball on this one. I think Colourpop could have done a little bit better. Formula is beautiful. The actual tones themselves are gorgeous, but because it just didn't quite match, you know, Vader and the theme, that's the only reason why I ranked it so low. Number 6 is the Violet Voss Rose palette. This is one of their mini palettes. I did order the newest one. I don't know when that's going to be coming in, but I did enjoy this. This was part of my birthday gift that I got from Sephora. My husband got me my very first like real Sephora haul. I have gotten a couple of products from Sephora, but I've never really just ordered, like did a real big haul from them. I usually only order from Ulta. But there were some products, like ones from Patrick Star and stuff that I have been wanting to try. And so he gifted me with the Sephora haul, and this is one of the products that I bought along with the face palette. This is just a really pretty, just kind of a soft pink palette. I love pink. I love their Sakura Blossom palette, and I think this is a gorgeous companion with that palette. The mattes in here, while it doesn't look like there's a lot of dimension, like it doesn't look like you can really kind of, you know, get any real depth from it, it's actually surprisingly versatile. I have found like these mattes here build really beautifully and do give you a lot of depth. The shimmers in here are very glossy, very shiny, very wet looking. I love the size. You can just throw this in your bag. You know you want to do like some pretty pink looks and you're going to be traveling somewhere. Perfect little palette to just toss in your makeup bag. Doesn't take up much space. Just overall, I thought this was a beautiful little palette to work with. We are now in our top 4. Number 4 is from Beauty Bay. This is the Fiery Mattes 9 color palette. This is one of the palettes that was launched when they did that series of palettes that had like the 42 pans, and I think there was like 12 pans, and the smaller pans in the middle. All, you know, the kind of basic type color stories, but just kind of getting smaller and smaller. This one is all mattes. This red right here is a vibrant, true to color red. We all know that formulating reds can be very difficult, in which they may come off more pink than red. This one is an actual true red, and it was fiery. It was beautiful on the lid. These oranges were absolutely gorgeous. You can make just a beautiful soft neutral with, you know, these kind of a toffee cream shades up here, these deep tones down here. I think this is also a good companion to one of the other palettes that we're going to be talking about that's kind of ranked higher. You might have an idea which palette that's going to be. Usually I am not an all matte palette person, but this just really gave me a beautiful all matte, just fiery look. I absolutely loved working with it. Beauty Bay has such an affordable formula, but it's just so beautiful, and I just look forward to seeing what they're going to come up with in the future. This palette was just, it was gorgeous. Number 3, this is the Tresluce I Am palette. I actually just talked about this in my monthly favorites. This is from Becky G, who is a Mexican American singer and songwriter. This palette is just so pretty. This yellow right here is so pigmented and so vibrant on the eyelids. All the shimmers, like this green, it is so gorgeous. You have this kind of row of neutrals down here. The black, pigmented, smooth. Just everything about this palette was so beautiful. The mirror on the inside, this is something just to kind of make note of. But it's not attached, it's magnetic, and it actually slides out, so you can take the mirror off. And then on the back of the mirror, you have the same artwork as on the cover. And then on the inside, there's like a little quote from Becky G, just a little inspirational quote. I just thought this palette was just so beautiful. I just think the overall color story is stunning. I think this is a versatile palette. I feel like you can do a lot with it. The shimmers were beautiful. That's why I ranked it number 3. And now we have come to the top 2 palettes. This one was hard. Number 2 is the Blend Bunny Dollhouse palette. Some of you are probably surprised I didn't rank this number 1 because I just talk so highly of it and I just love it so much. But the other palette that I have, I just love just a little bit more than this one. It was really hard though because they were kind of like neck and neck, but I did have to rank them, you know, for the sake of the video. So that's kind of where we're at. Blend Bunny is an independent brand. This palette is just so beautiful. There are 2 other palettes that are part of the Blend Bunny collection that I do want to get. Just haven't had a chance to pick them up yet. The Surge and the Blends palette, but I would definitely be grabbing them. This palette, I consider it to be neutrals elevated. These shimmers are so creamy and smooth and wet looking. These mattes are so silky and buttery and they blend. Oh my god, they blend like a dream. They're so buildable. I love the fact that she arranged them in basically columns. So you can go down each column and you can make a look. So like if you're looking at the palette, you're kind of overwhelmed, just go down the columns. You can easily put together a look that way and then just kind of make some matches. You get more comfortable with the palette. But this is just such a beautiful color story. I love the formula. This is just one of my apps. It's like whenever I want to do kind of an elevated neutral look, this is the palette that I pull out. I think it's absolutely beautiful. The brushes from the brand are also absolutely gorgeous. But this is number 2. And I cannot wait to finally be able to grab the other 2 palettes in the collection. Just very, very excited to be able to get my hands on those as well. And now we come to the number 1 palette in this ranking. Excuse me if I sound a little congested. My allergies have been kind of going crazy this past week, although I do feel way better today than I did the last couple of days. But number 1, the best, most amazing palette, at least in this ranking, is the Beauty Bay Earthy palette. Now, this is a 42 pan palette. This was also mentioned in my favorites. I've been trying to do more smaller curated palettes, but when I saw this one, I could not resist. Next to orange green is my favorite eyeshadow color, and oh my god, this is a green lover's dream. There are so many beautiful warm and cool tone greens within this palette. So many different tones of shimmers. There are different textures in here. I am wearing this on my eyes now. I think I have this shimmer right here on mixed with this one. Oh my god, they are so stunning. They are creamy, rich, buttery, so metallic, so glass-like and glossy on the eyelid. I mean, the shift, the wetness of how it looks in the eyelid. Oh my god, so beautiful. And then you have like this little row, this little area here that's got like the oranges and the reds, so you can kind of like bring in some of the tones from the Fiery Matte palette. So you can kind of like, you know, do like a little mix and match between these 2 palettes and put together a look. This palette is everything. Even though it looks sort of monochromatic, it really is not. There are so many ways that you can go with this palette, with just the versatility of the different shades. And a lot of times when you have palettes that are big like this, you have a lot of shades that just look alike. Like all these shades look alike. Oh my god, why are there so many shades that look so close? And there are some shades that are similar to each other, but the tones are very different. When you blend them on the eyelid, you can very clearly see the difference in the tones, in the shades. They do not look the same on the eyelid. Oh my god, it's just so versatile, so beautiful. This palette is absolutely stunning. It is everything. It is the ultimate green eyeshadow lover's dream. And this palette, you guys, was only $25. It was so inexpensive. And that is it for this ranking. Like I mentioned earlier, if there was a palette that you didn't see, it's going to be in the next ranking. I have I think 2 or 3 more palettes are on the way. I've just been in kind of a palette collecting full this year. But if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up. It really does help with the channel as far as getting the videos into recommendations. Let me know if you have any of these palettes, what you thought about these palettes. If you do have these palettes, where do they fit in your ranking? I would love to hear your thoughts. I love hearing from you guys. If you're new to the channel and you're not already subscribed, I would love if you consider joining my family. Make sure to tap the notification bell so you get notified of any videos coming up in the future. You can also follow me on my other socials. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Be safe, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.